Hey, I'm John. Welcome back to Underhill Creations and Casting Solutions. Now this is the third series of the GluBoost videos, and in this one I'll be working on an acrylic blank. Now I talked through the wood finishing blank, how you would apply it to acrylic, but rather than confuse anybody, I thought I'd make a video strictly on acrylics. That way you can see how I would finish one of my acrylic blanks with GluBoost. So let's get started. Alright, so here's what I've got. I've turned the blank down. This is one of my opal blanks. It's a clear cast in clear Alumilite resin, so it's a urethane resin. So it's a little softer than polyester resins, but what I want to do is, while I still have it on my metal bushings, I'm going to come in here and do a little bit of sanding. I'm going to start with 400 grit and then finish with 600 grit, and all I want to do is smooth this out to my desired surface. Some turners can cut these down to their finished turn with their tools and they don't have to do any sanding, but a lot of us I know still sand, so I want to incorporate that into this. So I'm going to turn my lathe down to about 1200. I'm going to come in here and just sand this down. You can see resin gums up the sandpaper fairly quick. I'm going to move here now to 600. Oop. And now I'm going to turn the lathe all the way up. I'm going to take steel wool. This is extra fine 4/0 steel wool, and walk across that. And what that's going to do is remove any of the sanding debris or any of the scratches left from the 600 grit. So now that we've got this ready to go for our finish, we're going to swap out our bushings and put on our Delrin bushings. Alright, so I've got my bushings swapped out so that I'm not gluing my blank to my metal bushings. These are the Delrin bushings and they'll pop off very easily from CA. I'm also going to protect the bed of my lathe with a spare rag. In this case I'm using an old kitchen towel, hand towel, and that will protect if I happen to spill or drip any CA. I don't have it on my lathe to interfere with my tailstock sliding. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here with the teal ultra thin fill and finish, and I'm going to use a couple coats just to seal this blank and remove all these scratches. It's going to fill in all these scratches left from sanding and give us a nice base to build on. So I'm going to turn my lathe on, put it down to about 500. Put a couple drops on my paper towel and just work across it. And it instantly shines it up, as you can see. One light spritz from the glue dry. I'm going to repeat with another layer. We can already see how shiny that blank is. So the ultra thin fill and finish just gets in there, it wicks in, it fills all them scratches up. We have two options. We can apply 5 or 6 more layers of this and be done with our finish, or we could apply 2 to 3 layers of the orange. It really all depends on your process, how comfortable you are with the product. It's going to take some practice on your end. In this case, I'm going to take some orange and I'm going to apply a couple layers of that. We'll show both processes. This way, if you find yourself using the orange and you run into a problem, you know how to address it. I'm applying moderate pressure, nothing real hard. I don't want to push the glue off. I just want to move it across the blank. Now, a lot of people use the blue shop towel. I'm using white Bounty, and it seems to be working just fine. It's not really smoking or crusting up. I'm not using a lot of glue at one time. So I've got, let's put 3 coats of the orange on here. So now that we've got 3 layers, what you may find is, depending on how practiced you are at applying it, you may get some unevenness. Now this feels pretty smooth, but it's not going to be as smooth as if you were to just use the fill and finish ultra thin. because it's a thicker consistency, so it may have some slight ridges in there. So what you may need to do then, you may need to take some 600 grit sandpaper, either sand over that, or you can take some steel wool. And in this case, I'll turn on the lathe on high. I'll take the extra fine steel wool and go across this. And knocked it all down nice and level. And now we can switch to micro meshing. Before I do that, I will switch back to my steel bushings. But if you found that maybe you had a glob on here, or you had a chip out, you had to fill it with the medium, and all of a sudden now you've got this bump, well, don't be afraid to take some 320, 400, or 600 grit sandpaper, work it out to 600 again, but if you need to start a little coarser, you can do that. Sand that down with the lathe on, get it to where you want it, and then go over the top of it with the ultra fine fill and finish. But before you do that, make sure you turn your lathe on and wipe it off without anything, because look at all the debris on that rag. You don't want to secure that or embed it inside your finish. So wipe that all off, and then take a different paper towel, turn your lathe back down, and you can apply a layer to fill those sanding scratches that you just applied in your finish. Now we're right back to where we want to be, right? We have a nice CA finish, several layers on there built up for durability. It's flexible, it's not going to chip or crack on us, and now we can go to either polishing this blank, or if you want to micro mesh it, whatever your process is, you're ready to finish that blank. So to give you a better example of what I'm talking about, when I apply a GluBoost finish over top of resin, this blank I turned down, I prepped the entire blank the same way. I sanded it, I steel wooled it, and then on side A I left naked resin, and on side B I applied a GluBoost finish. I applied 4 layers of the new fill and finish ultra thin. I then micro meshed the entire blank, wet sanded it, and then I buffed it. And as you can see, both still have a shine. But side A, the naked resin, is a little duller, the colors aren't as vibrant, and you can still see some fine scratches in there from the sanding. On side B, with the ultra thin fill and finish, you can see the colors are more bold, everything's shinier, smoother, and it's a much harder surface, so it will hold up with day-to-day use much longer than the naked resin. I know it seems a little confusing. Why are we going back and forth through product? But it really all comes down to understanding that product. So the thicker glues are going to be used for filling pores or chip outs or cracks. The thin then is going to be great for a standalone finish, and you may have to lightly sand it, if you want to build up some layers, or if you're doing, say, a water slide decal, and we'll cover that in another video. It's great for laying 3 or 4 coats and having a finish on it, right? Having that desired thickness for your finish. Especially early on when you're first starting out, you need to fine-tune your process, so maybe you need to sand it a little more. As you get better at it and get more experienced, you're going to find that the ultra thin works great as a standalone finish. That's the teal label on your acrylics. You can apply 3 or 4 coats of that, 5 coats of it, depending on how it's going for you, and maybe lightly steel wool it and take it right to the buffing wheel. So it all comes down to practice, but if you understand the qualities that these CA glues have, it really makes you better at applying your finish, because you understand what you need when you need it, and now you know how to put it on there. I hope this gives you an understanding of the qualities of the GluBoost CAs. They're a great product. They'll make you look good. I love it. Give it a shot if you haven't tried it, and if you're using it, let us know how it's working for you. I look forward to hearing back from you guys. Shoot me any emails with questions that you have, and be sure to stop back for more videos here from Underhill Creations and Casting Solutions. I'm John. Thanks for stopping in.